Hey guys, what's up? I want to talk about the current state of shonen anime and manga, seeing as My Hero Academia finally ended after, I think, a decade on the market almost. Maybe more, I'm not entirely sure. I do remember when the series came out, but I've lost track of time. I also want to bring up how with Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man ending this year too, what's that going to mean for shonen anime as a whole? When My Hero ending, Jujutsu Kaisen ending, and Chainsaw Man ending basically means that now the current big three has nothing else really left to make money off of aside from Demon Slayer. Does this mean that we're going to have a resurgence of things like we did in the 90s where we just, stagnate for who knows how long? Maybe 5 years, maybe 3, maybe 10. Now, of course, that does bring in the question of what's going to happen with more of your odd series like Kaiju number 8 or Shangri-La Frontier. Does this mean they're going to actually start becoming the forefront of modern shonen? Or does this mean that the modern shonen or battle shonen category is kind of going to go away? Now, I'm not going to go in here completely blind. I did read the final chapter of My Hero, and it's alright. It's a little lackluster of an ending, but it's not bad. I think that that Horikoshi as a writer and as an artist has done much better work for some of his other pieces of media. His fantasy series that I'll link up here, that I forget the name of, was really good though. I'll also show another series he wrote here as well. Maybe it was his assistant, I'm not too sure, but I'll get the info for you. I feel though that while these other series do deserve love, like Shangri-La Frontier and Kaiju number 8, I just can't see them ever becoming really the mainstays of modern shonen, given the fact that they're just a little too odd or a little bit too specifically niche for a modern shonen audience. Now, I will say that I feel like My Hero lost its luster over the years. It's not that he's a bad writer, I just feel like the power of friendship idea wasn't that great, and that Horikoshi didn't really have much of a way to keep that a fresh and original idea. I know Shonen Jump did push a few of those ideas a bit, but that's not really on them. We'll get into a rant about Shonen Jump another day. But the art style though is good. I do think he's a good artist. I think he's a good, unique style in the kind of generic scene of all shonen manga kind of looking alike. Now, I don't think it really lived up to its expectations as an ending, especially in shonen. Because, we look at a lot of things like Naruto and Bleach, and while their endings weren't the greatest, they still were kind of a cap to the series. I feel that, I don't know, My Hero's ending was kind of, it closed a lot of doors, but also didn't really answer too many questions that it should have. It was alright, though. I hope that whatever comes next, though, of the big three of 2025, or whenever we're going to get another big three, that'll have a little more emphasis on unique characters and things like, slightly better plots. The way JJK has always done fantastic character development. It's got great art. A little weird in the manga. The anime, I think, has a better style. But out of the modern big three, I think that's probably the one with the most potential. The one with the most promising future potential. But seeing how it's ending in 5 chapters, which is literally less than a month from now, that's some sad news. Hopefully the anime can adapt all of it, so that would be great. But I do hope that whatever happens next, though, does take inspiration from its previous generation. You get things like maybe a little bit of Naruto sprinkled in there, maybe a little bit of Bleach in there. You can't really do Dragon Ball Z too much, considering that was the father. That was the granddaddy of shonen. That's really where this genre got its foothold, and I don't think really copying that formula anymore technically works. Yeah, it's an okay idea, but when you set up battle shonen like that, you wind up having things like more Dragon Ball Super, where it's more fighting, less important character development. Now, that doesn't mean we don't have good manga anymore. It just means that a lot of their adaptations get very lackluster or half attempts of adapting the source material well. Seven Deadly Sins is a good example. Terrible anime. awful. Hated the anime. Could not even stomach the first like 8 episodes. But the manga is fantastic. The art's beautiful. The characters are great. The writing, it's alright. I mean, I think King's a bit of a juvenile character, but other than that, it's a great story. Far out exceeds its anime completely. Now, of course, we can never have everything live up to Dragon Ball, but what I do want to see that I wish My Hero would inspire is more of the dorky protagonist. I would like to see more people take Hirokoshi's idea of having a complete dork as a character, a complete nerd, and make him into a likable main character. Because, the Goku archetype's cool. I do like the, kind of dumb but still lovable character that uses his martial arts skill as a way of getting stronger. I like the Naruto thing of no one's born bad, try to find a good potential in people, all that. That's all cool. But I do wish that as modern shonen goes forward, it feels like we have a little too much of the same with characters. I hope that we get more of the sort of early 2000s creativity back, where we have things like Flame of Recca or Full Metal Alchemist, where we just have these masterpieces of storytelling that whether you're a fan of manga or not, you're going to like what you're reading. Which, by the way, I do highly recommend Flame of Recca. It's a great series. It's in my top 10. If you guys want to know my top 10, let me know in the comments. I'll make a list of my top 10 manga from the 90s and 2000s. That would be a lot of fun. Now, do I think that My Hero missed its mark on its storytelling or on its moral? A little bit. There's always kind of a moral with shonen anime, given the fact of the audience it's made for is usually young boys between the age of about 14 to 18. I don't think it really hit its mark too much. I know it was trying to go for the whole fulfill your dreams idea, which is good. It's kind of a little bit of what Naruto lives up to as well, but it does it in a much deeper way. Now, of course, I'm not going to rag on My Hero too much. As a manga, it's fine. It's fine. It doesn't do anything technically that bad. I don't think it's the worst thing ever. A lot of people do. I don't think it's that bad, personally. I like the manga for what it was. I just feel like it went on too long with its final arc. And I know this is coming from someone who likes Naruto. The war arc in Naruto went on for like 7 years. It's a long plot, but you had other things going on, though. You had, side characters doing things. You had more plot developing in the background. You had more of the Uchiha family getting brought up and things. You had actual development going on. I feel like what happened here was that a lot of the plot potential was spent on just trying to speed up to an ending and not actually having a goal in mind. Because it feels like there was a little more needed for Deku. There was a little more needed for Deku as a character. I mean, he's set up to be All Might's replacement, and he does kind of fulfill that, but I mean, he gets pretty much handed every power-up he gets. I would like to have seen him just push himself, or just not have any powers at all, and just use his knowledge as a weapon. That would be great. That would have probably been a much better series now that I really sit here and think about it. But that's not really the issue. I think the issue is that with My Hero ending and JJK ending and Chainsaw Man coming to an end, what's next? Because a show like Da Dan, or however that, I'll again link that. It's a good manga, really interesting, but it's too weird. I can't see something like that becoming part of the big three. That's just not much of a thing anymore. I think that's a bit too haphazardly odd. I think Kaiju number 8 has a lot of potential. It has a ton of potential, in all honesty. I just don't know if it's going to be too mainstream, given the fact that it's really good. It's a great anime. It's animated okay. It's got some points, but I mean, it's one of my top 5. It's fantastic. I loved every minute of it. I even got friends who aren't big fans of kaiju movies into it. It's a lot of fun. It's good. I don't know how well it's going to become part of the next big three, though. That's the question. And seeing how Demon Slayer has fallen off now, which is not necessarily a bad thing, I don't know if we'll ever really get evergreen status with any modern anime or manga now. It feels like the industry is moving in a very different direction that's honestly a little bit frightening, given the fact that I won't say it's the end of the industry, not at all. You know, the end of the manga industry would take a lot, but I feel like with the way you have studio closures, you have manga companies that are either changing ownership or switching hands. A lot of artists are starting to become self-reliant and publish through the internet instead of through magazines, which is not a bad thing. I just feel like it's starting to become a little bit more of a drought of regular released print manga that's going to make it hard for everything to really stay relevant in the modern age. I feel that we're going to go through probably that weird era we went through in the 80s or the 90s at some point, where we're going to, you know, have this drought for like 5 to 10 years of anything creative coming out. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, don't look at independent manga. I'm not saying it. Independent manga can be fantastic. Some of the best stories I've read in recent years have been independent or published through an app or published through something like Kodansha's own manga app, which you get some good stuff. I mean, the Nier Automata manga is fantastic. Definitely not kid-friendly, but fantastic, though. Things like Shangri-La Frontier switched to an online-only platform, and it works great. That is a fantastic series, by the way. If you like isekai, that's a good change of pace for that type of genre. Which, yeah, I feel that, you know, isekai is, again, a weird thing. Again, we'll get on that in another video. But I feel that we're kind of letting a lot of these series slip through the cracks because they just don't really keep enough relevance anymore. They either lose their fan base, lose their appeal, or you just have basically a lack of interest in some of the new things coming out. You know, there's a lot of good new potential series coming out that I get excited for, but then you read them and they're pretty lackluster, or Shonen Jump does what Shonen Jump does best, which is they do what Netflix likes to do: cancel a series before it gets popular. Again, understandable. You know, they got to make money. So do the artists, so do the writers, but I don't think we'll ever really get a chance to relive that era of the 90s. You know, I don't think modern audiences will ever have what old school anime fans had, where, you know, the big three go away and then something really cool and creative pops up to take its place and becomes kind of the biggest thing for, you know, 6 months or, you know, a year or 2 years or something like that. I think instead what we're going to have is kind of that big drought and get a few things pop up. Then another big drought and have another couple things pop up. You know, we did that in the early 2010s, early 2020s as well. You know, My Hero was probably the only thing that came out that was relevant enough to be a thing. Now, of course, that's not a bad thing. I always consider this as a bit of a bittersweet thing where, while one series ends, another series can have a chance to take its place. By having 3 big, major series ending, though, that can do a lot to really affect the manga and anime industry. I mean, that's asking a lot. That's taking a big hit to a lot of their income, a lot of the money that these artists use to survive on. Now, I'm very happy to see Hirokoshi moving on and doing other things. I hope his next series is good. I hope it brings him as much profit as My Hero did. I really do want to see the man succeed. He's a very good artist. Love his art style. I think he gets a little too much hate. I think My Hero gets a little too much hate. It's not awful. No, not by any means. There are far worse anime out there, far worse manga out there, but, you know, I would like to see him get a little more love. Other than that, my general concern is that this doesn't really affect it permanently. I don't want us to, you know, have a drought for 10 years and then anime stops being mainstream. While that wouldn't be a bad thing, it would affect, though, getting things like merchandise, getting things like ease of use, like getting Blu-rays and things. Yeah, it would probably be like it was in the 2000s, the 90s, which, you know, we old school anime nerds, we survived. I mean, you know, we got our DVDs through conventions, got our Blu-rays through the internet, got our VHS tapes, but, you know, that's too much hassle. No one wants to go through that again. I do kind of see some good things coming from this and a lot of bad. More of the good I see coming from this series ending and all these series really coming to an end is that I see anime finally getting a chance to cool down and take a break and not have something new and hyped up and exciting coming out every 2 days. So we as viewers get a chance to relax and really get laid back and have time to recover between shows. But I think that also it's important because the studios who do these anime like MAPPA or studios like Bones have a chance to recover and let their staff recover and, you know, have a chance to work on something either shorter or more niche that's not going to require as much attention from them. But it also means we get a lot of manga artists being able to relax or work on series they want to work on, as opposed to something like being at a deadline for one series every week. It's good. It means we're going to have a little bit more of a creative thing happening from it, hopefully. You know, meaning that we'll probably get what I hope is a resurgence at some point where we have a drought, new creative artists come out or new creative writing comes out, and we get these really cool and really well-written series that take the place of the big three. Now, with the announcement of One Piece ending next year as well, potentially, again, that's going to affect things in a weird way. I don't think we'll ever not have mainstream anime anymore in the West. I mean, that's just, it's too ingrained now. That's not a bad thing, but I do think that we're going to see that thing that a lot of us old school anime fans were used to, but a lot of modern anime fans have never really experienced, which is having that era where you don't really have anything coming out. You've got a couple of things here and a couple of things there coming out, but nothing really that great that you've really got to go out of your way to watch. You know, something that you might find a Blu-ray here or find a DVD here, or, you know, go to conventions and have to ask some folks, or, you know, you find it recommended on you online from some weirdo in his basement telling you to go read certain series or go watch certain series, you know. But again, I don't think that it's going to really affect anything too much, hopefully. But that's me trying to stay optimistic. Now, I do hope that we have a new age of shonen manga and a new age of battle shonen. I would love to see that. That'd be wonderful. I don't think we'll ever get another Naruto or Dragon Ball Z again. Absolutely not. But at least get something that did as well as Jujutsu Kaisen and My Hero have done profit-wise and sale-wise. I have no problem with that. But just give me good writing. That's all I need. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this. A little bit of commentary on what's going on in the anime and manga scene. If you guys like this or you want to talk about any series that's coming out, or you have any series recommendations you want me to read, put them in the comments. Now, saying this, I hope that you guys stay safe, stay hydrated, and enjoy some good manga, maybe some good anime this weekend. I'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks.